Well, I mean, it's no surprise. I do hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I loathe it. I despise it. I detest it. I for it. I just, everything about it rattles, every one of my cages. And there's a number of reasons, but let's begin with something that was said in that interview when you said to Jeremy Piven, you said, is it fair to say that this is how the women are portrayed? And he said, well, yeah, what you have to understand is it's a male fantasy. Firstly, that's not an excuse. And secondly, that there is such a thing as a male fantasy, just everybody wants to be part of that, I just totally reject. So saying it's a male fantasy is not an excuse for it. And I think it was very interesting that in response to that question, what he did was actually talked about Ari's relationship with his wife, which in the entire film is pretty much exceptional.
Yes, it's true.
As being, I mean, it's not a three-dimensional portrait by any means, but it's it's a 1.1 dimensional portrait. Because other than that, this is absolutely the most some consumerist dream. And it says something in the production notes. I need to read this to you. It says, ever cruise Sunset Boulevard in a stretch limousine and then hit the red carpet at a star-studded movie premiere? Stop by an impromptu party on the beach in Malibu where the sun always shines and the flow? Score the best at the hottest restaurant in town, no reservation required, and all the while, everywhere you go, gorgeous starlets you pass by. It's everybody's fantasy to live a dream. It's everybody's fantasy to live a dream. Okay, well, let's get one thing clear. No, it isn't. It may be a select audience's fantasy to live a dream, but in my case, I absolutely detest everything about the mindset that this film occupies. For one thing, you think at the beginning it's going to become, and I know some people say, well, Mark's not, not a fan of the TV show, and I've never followed the TV show, so therefore I don't have that kind of connection with the characters. That's fine. I'm happy with them whatsoever. It is perfectly possible to have, movies and TV programs about people who are utterly loathsome, interested only in money, interested only in cars, interested only in women as property, and for those programs still to be interesting because of the way in which the program approaches them. And I have heard from some people that there is an element of that in the TV show. From the opening moment of this, in which we have an overhead of a yacht with a bunch of sort of young hotties dancing around while these guys stuff. 10 seconds into the film, I'm literally 10 seconds into the film, I leaned to James King and I broke the code of conduct. I whispered to him, this film. I just, like, all my alarm bells went off and I thought, it's okay, but maybe it will settle down. But no, it didn't. What happened was we were shown this, lifestyle, which is all wealth, glittering, money, cars, boats, money, cars. Guys talking about this, everything's about themselves and everything's about, the contents of their underwear and everything they've got and how they're driving. And people that I just absolutely have no sympathy for, don't care about them, not interested in them, don't find them charming, don't find them funny. And you keep thinking that what's going to happen is that the film is going to flip. It's going to turn its way around. We're going to see that their lifestyle is. And the way this is set up is that the main guy, who's an actor, he's been given this gig to direct a movie called Hyde. And no one's seen anything of it, but he spent a bunch of money. And clearly the film's going to be and at one point, we get to see some clips from it. And it's terrible. It's like one of those movies that Adam Ant used to make in the 1990s that went straight to video. I mean, and that's the joke. But then that isn't the joke, because it's not a stiff. Because actually, the guy who has got no discernible talent whatsoever has made something that is, in fact, brilliant. And the lifestyles of these guys aren't falling apart. They are, in fact, and the guys that you see doing just horrendous, awful, horrible, vile, yuck stuff, they're great. It's where you have the player, right? The player says, look, Hollywood lifestyle, it's empty and vacuous and it's all to do with, with money, wealth and sexism and all these things. And it sort of picks it apart. And that's why it works, because it's funny, because you can satirize stuff. This just goes, Hollywood lifestyle, it's all vacuous and it's about money and it's about sexism. And isn't that great? These guys, they're loathsome. Hooray! These guys, all they care about. These guys, they treat all the women around them as. Hooray! These guys are really, really annoying company. Everyone loves them. Hooray! I mean, you keep thinking, when does come about how actually none of that. And I'm sitting there in the middle of this thing, which is just like this pornographic, humorist filled piece of propaganda, which is just saying to everyone, this is what you should aspire to. This level of moral torpor is what you should, this level of utter just foul, soul-sucking, horrible vacuum of vile emptiness is what you should aspire to. And then you wait for the burst, and it isn't. Because the punchline is everyone loves them, and they like each other. And even the one, and there's some stuff in it which I can't talk about on the radio because it's that time of day. So what you have is with no, you have with no. Essentially, it's just like the generation game with a conveyor belt of lust, greed, avarice, vice, just being wheeled in front of you and going, yeah. And I wondered whether, am I not, because I'm not getting, is the actually so straight-faced, so deadpan, so unbelievably, just poker-faced that I can't see. And then you realize, no, it's meant to be funny. It's meant to be good. You're meant to like these people. You're meant to like this lifestyle. You're meant to want this stuff. You're meant to be seduced by it. I mean, compared to this, Sex and the City 2 is a call to arms for, for the dispossessed masses of the world to rise up. I mean, in terms of its gender politics, Human Centipede is more sensitive. It is a film which not only has a syrupy, corpulent, foul display of, I mean, the amount of shots of and yachts and I would cross the road not to be in the same street as these people, but the movie wants to be with them. The movie is like some awful hanger-on that has found its way into some hideous party and can't believe it's there and doesn't want to annoy anyone. Then, of course, you get the parade of celebrity with people just lining up to have their faces in this. The notable one being Mark Wahlberg himself, who actually I thought looked embarrassed to be there, because you almost got this sense that he's moved on. Even he realised that this is not acceptable. So whatever else it may be in terms of the show, the TV show, and you have to like the character, believe me, I could have spent 8 characters with these people, and if this is the way they're treated, I wouldn't have wanted to spend another day with them. They are all vile. And I don't believe in any of them. I don't believe in the lie that the film is attempting to sell me about this is what we should aspire to. I don't, and more importantly, I don't think it's what it is a piece of propaganda. And I predict that it will be seen as such and rejected as such. I cannot remember, and I'm serious about this. I hate this more than I hate Sex and the City 2, and that's really going some.